Hey guys, Mark here with Weaponized Truth. Uh, I've got a couple interesting stories here about white privilege that I want to get to. I've actually got a couple of stories that may be a little more important, but these are pretty darn compelling. So let's just jump right in. What we have here is a story coming out of Connecticut when we have a town that sponsored a student essay contest on the topic of white privilege. It did spark a bunch of outrage. Contest organizers have been surprised from reaction from some who say the question wrongly suggests race plays into the good life enjoyed in Westport. Residents like Barry Rayner, 72, say the question is offensive because the town welcomes anybody who can afford to live there. It's an open town, there are no barricades here, nobody says if you're black or whatever you can't move here. Now, the contest put on by the town's Diversity Council asked students to describe the impact white privilege has had on their lives using a term that refers generally to advantages conferred automatically to whites and not to minorities. So, as you can see here, they talk about the Diversity Council. I just want to make my viewers once again aware of a topic that I am going to revisit today. Diversity is this false flag done by the United Nations through the Strong Cities Network to slowly but surely move them towards their goal of Agenda 21, which is in fact depopulating 80 to 90% of the planet as soon as possible. If you think this is a farce, I highly urge you to go watch some of my older videos or anyone else's on the subject that shows that this is, in fact, a 100% true objective of the United Nations. Now, the chairman of the Diversity Council, Harold Bailey Jr., said that in addition to the chatter in town, people as far away as Singapore have weighed in online. There's a lot more controversy around it than many of us expected, said Bailey, a retired IBM vice president who is black. Just the fact that it says white and privilege for some people, that's all they need to see, and all of a sudden we're race baiting or trying to get people to feel guilty. That's not what it's all about, really. So you've got a black guy who goes to a rich white neighborhood and wants all the rich white kids to write a paper about white privilege, and there's nothing racially motivated here whatsoever. That would be like me, a person who identifies as a white male, walking into the hood in a primarily black community and going and having uh, all of their kids in their schools there write a paper on why whites are better than blacks. Guys, would any of you expect me to walk out of that neighborhood or that community alive? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Now, on a side note, this guy no longer works for IBM, but he used to. And I just want to tell you that my father worked for IBM for about 20 something years, and I can tell you that is from my personal experience and dealing with my dad and his coworkers and actually being employed by them for a bit myself. I can tell you this is not a racist company from what I have seen from my first-hand approach. So I don't want this man to be the full representation of IBM because from my experience, this is not the case. But once again, you take a black guy and put him in a rich community and have all the white rich kids do a paper on why they're so much better than black people. You're going to cause a problem, and this is going to cause a racial divide. And come on, man. Now, in another issue involving white privilege, you might recognize this picture right here. This is Milo Yiannopoulos, and this is over on Breitbart, and they have applications now open for the Yiannopoulos Privilege Grant. And the Yiannopoulos Privilege Grant, launched by Milo Yiannopoulos, bear with me for a second, and funded by Milo and private donors to provide college funding and assistance to white males, is pleased to announce that an application for its pilot program are now being accepted to receive grants of $2,500 announced the grant in a post on Tuesday. The application period will be closed on Valentine's Day, and the recipients will be announced on March 31st, and grant payments will be made directly to the schools once the IRS has approved. As well as announcing the acceptance of applications, Milo has also hired a new selection committee chairman, Janet Bloomfield, to overview the applications, which are to students who are attending or accepted to a 2-year community college or 4-year college or university. My initiative to help white men further their education is now accepting applications. We've given it the brilliant name of the Unopolis Privilege Grant. No, this isn't a joke, Milo declared when he spoke at Cal Poly State University on Tuesday. It started as a joke, but if you're a woman, or you're black, or you're disabled, or you're Muslim, or refugee, or if you identify as an attack helicopter, you can get free money. But the fact that actually it is young white boys who are educationally underprivileged. As educationally underprivileged as many other groups. So it did start as a joke, but nobody can resist the truth wrapped in a good joke, and there's nothing better than doing good while annoying the left. It's my favorite thing. Now, I will tell you guys that I do identify as a white male, but a lot of my heritage is in fact Native American. I've had many relatives come up to me and ask me why I haven't went to the government and get all this free stuff that I can get because of my Native American heritage. I haven't accepted any of it. I don't consider myself to have any sort of privilege for being white, just as much as I don't consider myself having any sort of privilege for my Native American heritage. I'm American. And I believe part of being a good American and part of what America is all about is working hard to get what you want and not having it given to you and being on a welfare state being provided for by the government. So I can tell you with my Native American part of my heritage that I can tell you firsthand that affirmative action is in fact a real thing in many different aspects of society in America. So this isn't really any different. He said, so I and the number of private donors have created this thing. My goal is to help more men, no matter their major or political opinions, reach their educational goals. You can even major in gender studies. I don't care. Now, I will say I actually watched his speech live. You guys can go on YouTube and watch it. And even though he says you're more than welcome to study gender studies, he also makes a note to point out that after he gives you the money, he does reserve the right to come back and make fun of you for it. But he says, I hope everyone in the room applies, and I hope everybody watching at home applies. Men, as you know, make up just 43% of America's 20.5 million college students. Yet another way in which the feminist consensus about the oppressive patriarchy simply doesn't hear any relation to the facts, and that number's getting smaller. So it's all very well for social justice warriors and progressives to cry and scream and talk about changing things and making a difference and standing up, but then there are those of us who are actually doing something, which now in higher education is a minority group. So, and as you can see right here, you can apply for the Annapolis Privilege Grant here. I'll put links for all of these different websites in the description for you guys. But as you can see here, this is privilegegrant.com. And you can apply for the Annapolis Privilege Grant. It's got a mission statement. And it says you're eligible, you must be a U.S. citizen, you must be currently enrolled or submitted to an accredited 2 or 4-year full-time American college or university, and it's open to all majors, and agree to the release above. So as long as you're a U.S. White male citizen enrolled in school, he has an essay contest here where you send an essay and a video, and they will choose 10 different white male winners who will all receive $2,500 towards their education. So they have managed to raise a total of $25,000 to educate people in America. And with the gross amount of college debt in this country, this certainly can't be all that terrible of an idea. As we know, all of the affirmative action that currently exists in this country as it is. Now, you've got two things here about white privilege. You've got a black guy going to a rich community, having rich white kids, writing a paper about why they're so much more special than black people. And then you've got a white male wanting to give college money to other white males to promote higher education for white males in America. So, which one do you guys think is better? I think you know what I think. Leave me your thoughts, guys. Y'all take care.